Fly ball hit deep here from Lipsius to the fence, and it's off of the scoreboard. Lipsius ties it here in the 7th inning, and Tennessee shut out no more on the first round tripper of the season for Luke Lipsius. Big payoff pitch, and he gets strike 3 called, a fastball at the knees. Leaf with a punch out, his 6th. Bases are loaded, and the Vols can blow this game wide open. High fly ball, deep left field. Lipscomb, a grand slam and a punctuation mark on the start of this series. First of the season for Lipscomb, and it's a 7-1 ball game. It's a brisk Friday afternoon in Knoxville. Tennessee, George Washington getting set for the first of a 3-game set. Bundled up fans here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. We welcome you upstairs. We're a little more cozy up here. Charlie Palaio, Michael Wottreng, glad you're with us on this Friday afternoon. 2 teams off to red-hot starts. Tennessee, one of 15 remaining undefeated teams in the country. George Washington's off to its best start since 2015. So the Vols bring the top of the lineup to the plate, and a team that was as good as it gets in terms of scoring offense has been held scoreless so far by the impressive redshirt sophomore Harrison Cohen. Tennessee entered today 6th in the country, 11 runs per game this year. And they have not put one up so far, and Cohen has needed just 49 pitches to do so.
I think both pitchers have been very economical with their fastballs or with their total number of pitches. Dallas is in the low 70s now probably, and Cohen in the 50s is pretty amazing for earlier in the season.
Durkee takes high and tight, 2-1. What have you seen from Cohen? What has impressed you the most out of the right-hander?
I like his fastball. I like the movement on his fastball. His fastball run, sink a little bit from these left-handed hitters, and that slider's real tight. Not a big breaking pitch, but a control-type slider, and he's around the plate. Keeps attacking the strike zone.
Ground ball out to second base. Levine picks it up and throws on the run. Nice defensive effort there. That's 9 straight retired. Durkee was the last man to reach against Cohen, and now he's gone through the lineup an entire time without giving up a base runner.
And right there, Durkee, that pitch was a good slider down. He couldn't really do a whole lot with it except hit it on the ground.
So he gets Zach Daniels, who was the Round Rock Tournament MVP last week, and he's grounded to third twice.
And the talk about Daniels this year has been his discipline at the plate now. He's more patient. He's not being fooled a lot on a lot of pitches, especially breaking pitches. However, his first 2 at-bats in this game, what has he done? He's jumped on the first pitch, and that time he took it right there.
Jumps on this pitch and rolls it foul, third base side, so he's in a 2-strikes-to-nothing hole.
Just trying to do a little bit too much with those balls, with the pitches away from him, trying to pull them instead of trying to maybe drive that ball to the right center field gap. He has power to hit it out of any part of the ballpark.
2-strikes-to-nothing to Daniels. Stays high with a fastball. And we talked to Coach Vitello about the elements, and I wonder as a pitcher, when you come in, as you see Daniels' progression over the years, already 3 home runs after 9 through his first 2 seasons, but the average is what's really impressive for Daniels, the big jump and fewer strikeouts as well. And just as we say that, he strikes out swinging, and throwing to first base, Frechette gets him.
The difference, I think, even though he struck out right there, it was more of a prolonged at-bat. Last year, he was 0-2 all the time and chasing the curveball for strike 3, and that was his at-bats. This year, he may strike out, but at least he's taking the pitcher deeper in the count and seeing more pitches.
So 10 straight retired now by Cohen, and here's Jake Rucker, 0 for 2 in the ball game in a 1-0 contest. As I was saying, as a pitcher, does this give you more confidence because the elements are so in your favor that a fastball that might leave the ballpark on other days will probably not leave here today, so you can be a little bit more aggressive?
I think the best story about that as far as the elements goes, when you used to pull into Wrigley Field in Chicago, and the first thing you ever did was look at the flags. If they're blowing in, great day to pitch. You would love to be out there. If they're blowing out, well, I don't feel too good today, Skip. I may need to skip a day. But the elements can play a big part in your mental approach.
Yeah, I think you hear that about Wrigley Field all the time. And I think as a pitcher, that's where you have about 4 or 5 nowadays, the apps of the Weather Channel of just seeing like, what's the weather going to be like when my number gets called? Because it better be blowing in.
Yeah, and then you look Tennessee, here it's blowing out a little bit. Usually blows the left center here at this ballpark. But it's not much of a factor today. Rucker is the guy in the lineup. You know, if I'm scouting Tennessee and I'm going to pitch against them, and here's the guy that's been really hot this year and swinging the bat really well. Had a great year last year for a freshman. He's the one I'm looking at. I'm saying I'm not going to let him beat me in a ball game.
So far hasn't done so. 0 for 2 in this game, but hanging around with a pretty quality at bat working right now.
He's pitched him really well. I mean, he's mixed in his breaking pitch, that slider. He's kept the ball down on him. He's definitely a high ball hitter. And he's strong enough now we can hit it out of the ballpark.
Tennessee has yet to score after scoring in the first 2 innings of each of their first 9 games this year. But this right-hander Cohen has really been able to solve this mystery, the redshirt sophomore.
The last couple hitters now, he's also raised that fastball up when he's ahead in the count, trying to get him to chase that high fastball, which is great.
Rucker spoils another one.
And he's not slowing down. He's still throwing in there at 90 miles an hour. So he hasn't lost much from the first inning to the 6th inning.
A 7-pitch sequence working right now. And his teammates have a lot to be happy about so far.
And we don't know how this game is going to end, but you know those other pitchers in the dugout right now are gaining confidence too. Say, hey, Harrison's doing it. I can do it tomorrow, and I can do it on Sunday too.
5 2/3 scoreless so far for Cohen. As Rucker gets a single through the left side of the infield. Does that open the door for Tennessee after Rucker breaks up the string of 10 in a row retired by Cohen with a 2-out single here in the 6th?
He gave in to him right that time. He just said, I'm going to throw you a fastball and challenge it, but he left it more middle of the plate. And Rucker's a good enough hitter right there where he got a good part of the bat on it and got it to left field.
First hit of the game for Tennessee since Durke's single in the 3rd. And now here's Solari, who we know can do all sorts of damage at any given time. He led the team and was one of the best in the SEC last year in the slash line categories, average on base percentage and slugging. And he's a Golden Spikes preseason watch list candidate.
Nice pitch. First pitch slider right there on the knees. You know Solari's looking to drive the ball hard somewhere. Stay away from that fastball early in the count.
Out to the mound goes Frechette to have a conversation with Cohen, and this is certainly a big batter in this ballgame. The cleanup batter for Tennessee, Solari, who despite a little bit of a slow start for Tennessee, came on strong Wednesday with his first home run of the season.
Definitely swinging the bat a lot better. Starting to see the ball better and drive the ball better.
He's in a 1-strike-and-nothing hole. But the tying runs at first base and 2 outs. Solari started the year 0 for 13, hitless in each of his first 3 games of the season. But he does have hits now in 5 of his last 6. Well, Rucker at first base has a couple steals in as many tries this year. That's, I think, what we were talking about earlier. It's not necessarily about the high volume of steal numbers. It's when you get it, and if you get one here, you put yourself in scoring position. Solari hits one sharply through the hole again, almost the exact same spot where Rucker put it. Back-to-back 2-out singles has Tennessee in business in the 6th.
Cohen left the slider hanging inside that time. You see it right here. Watch this breaking ball just hang over the plate, and Solari did a good job of hitting the ball hard into left field.
Now it's on Connor Pavoloni. 2 flyouts in this ball game. He'd like to maybe line one into a gap this time around.
Had some big hits for Tennessee in clutch situations, especially with 2 outs.
Ball's down by a run. Check swing from Pavoloni. They'd take an appeal down to Curtis at first base, and the first base umpire says Pavoloni able to lay off 1-0.
He was glad to have that appeal down there. He got a little to do something and warm up a little bit. That first base umpire, he looks a little bit cold down there. Good time to back up your first pitch breaking ball that you missed with another breaking ball right here. You know Pavoloni's sitting fastball. Come back with that slider to even the count.
That's assuming you have confidence you can get it in there for a strike, or at least make it look good.
And you should and you have to at this level.
I went to the fastball, contrary to your thoughts. Got a strike anyway.
Well, that was my other thought. If you can't hit, if you don't have confidence in the breaking ball, well, then you've got to locate your fastball away. You can't miss inside or down the middle. You got to be good enough to even the count on the outer half of the plate with your fastball.
Well, he's been so good in this game. Certainly wants to keep his team on the top end of the scoreboard now. Pavoloni to third base. Picked up by Marmakian. Throws to second for the out. So after 2 two-out singles, it's Cohen that wins the battle. And it's still the Colonials on top after 6.